It was just announced that Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Let's get into the announcement here. And we'll get into some of the details as well. Here we go, folks.
Back in here too, live now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. We want to bring you a breaking news story as former President Joe Biden announcing on social media that he has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. And I want to put up just this statement here on live now from Fox from one of these spokespeople for former President Joe Biden talking about this, saying last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasized in the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears there to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with physicians. So this is a big news as we are following it. Aggressive prostate cancer with former President Joe Biden after leaving office just several months ago. So, of course, going in there for a checkup. You can see there a statement from the personnel office of the former President Joe Biden about this. And this is major breaking news.
Yeah, major breaking news. Joe Biden has been diagnosed with aggressive form of prostate cancer. Now, I want to go ahead and explain some things. Number one, I'm kind of surprised by this because as president of the United States, you have a personal doctor, like you have a personal doctor for the White House, and they're supposed to get a physical every year. I believe it is required if you're president of the United States. You would have thought this is something that would have been caught earlier, right? And what I want you to pay attention to is that word aggressive, right? So if you're getting those annual checkups, you would have thought they would have been able to catch this before it got, to this point. And I will say to everyone that's watching, please be sure that you don't skip your physicals, right? Like that is something that I am very adamant about. Like I won't skip those. That being said, you would think that this would kind of be a wake-up call for Joe Biden, because Joe Biden was the one that said if the Medicare for All bill came across his desk, he would veto it. Why is that important in this case? I just want to remind everybody that Joe Biden has what I would call gold-plated health insurance, which many Americans do not have. Do not have. How many people, how many of you have known people that have been diagnosed with cancer and can't afford the treatments, or their health insurance won't cover, but only so much of it? Because I know I could probably use both of my hands the number of people that I have known in my lifetime that have been diagnosed with cancer, and none of them have had the type of healthcare insurance that Joe Biden had. I have one friend of mine that has basically gone into bankruptcy because of cancer diagnosis, because the health insurance company, they pay for some of it. But even after insurance paid, she was taking pictures of their medical bill and posting them on Facebook to show people that even after the insurance payments, they had to pay $1,600 a week for the chemo treatments. We're talking about somebody that was pretty healthy as much as I could remember. The point is this: Joe Biden has the top-notch medical team, has gold-plated health insurance, that they're probably going to be able to attack this aggressively, and he can probably beat this. Even though it's an aggressive form, they said it's treatable. People that I have known who have even had earlier diagnosis have run into this issue where it continued to spread because they didn't have the money to pay for the treatment even after insurance paid. I sincerely hope the lesson that people learn from this story here happening with Joe Biden is not that, he has prostate cancer and it's aggressive, and well, it's good that he didn't decide to run for re-election after all. I hope the message that people take from this is how important it is for everyone to have health care in this country. Because the reality is a lot of Americans are not in the position that Joe Biden is in. A lot of Americans don't have gold-plated health care insurance. A lot of Americans don't have the financial means to pay for the treatments. People don't want to talk about it, or people who have money don't want to talk about it, but cancer treatments are expensive. Let's continue.
Look right now there in Washington, D.C. at the White House as we have chronicled the last 4 years for President Joe Biden very, very closely, and also the election in which he did drop out, had his Vice President Kamala Harris jump into the race with about 100 days to go. President Trump winning that election in a mandate style with voters casting their ballot. But this is big news as former President Joe Biden diagnosed with prostate cancer. And this is just information that the world is learning in real time of what's to come with this. We have not seen him in the public lens a lot in the last several months. So obviously staying out of the spotlight. We have not seen him speak. We have not seen him support other different candidates in the race in 2026, the midterms. We've seen different campaign style events recently, but this is
really weird that he said this, because Joe Biden did just have 2 interviews. I guess, I don't know if he just doesn't remember that, but we covered the interview that he had recently with the BBC, and also the interview that he had with Jill Biden on The View. I didn't cover that one, but he's had 2 interviews recently. So it's kind of weird he said he's out of the spotlight, but he did just have 2 interviews.
Major news as former President Joe Biden diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. We'll continue to learn more here, bring on some medical experts, bring on the finest experts for politics and what this means. And we'll discuss this more here on this Sunday, but we're just gathering new information about this as the world learns that he has been diagnosed with prostate cancer here on this Sunday on Live Now. Back in here too.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit more details about this. If you're just joining, it says that Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. And one of the things I want to add here as well, everybody in this country should have the same health care, in my opinion. I don't think it's fair that because of your status, your title, your wealth, that you're entitled to better health care than somebody else. That is the one thing, like, I will not back down on that. Because like I said, Joe Biden has the best resources possible. He has the best team possible to get this treated and to try to beat this. The average American does not. You'll see that more when I get into that new story about 60% of Americans, because that story, this is all connected, but you would think this will be a wake-up call. So it's probably not going to be a wake-up call for Joe Biden, but hopefully this is a wake-up call for the rest of the country. Now, if we go into a little bit of the details here, again, diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. It says that the prostate cancer has spread to his bones. That's what his office said recently. The diagnosis came after Mr. Biden reported urinary symptoms, which led doctors to find a small nodule on his prostate. Mr. Biden's cancer is characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. Mr. Biden's office was unsigned. Mr. Biden's office, which was unsigned. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. Again, see how they're able to sit down and review treatment options? Think about all the people in this country that have filed for bankruptcy because of cancer treatments, and because there may have been treatments that were more effective, but they were too expensive. So people go with the cheaper option. I know people who have been through this. Some of you know people who have been through this. Some of you have family members, have friends that have been down this road. And I got to say this, because this is one that really aggravates me the most. And there are a lot of diseases in the world, but this one really aggravates me to the point that, like, after all these years of medical research, you mean to tell me they can't find a cure for cancer? In this country, I know there's treatments that have been mentioned in other countries, but think about this, guys. All of the money that goes into medical research, we're talking about decades and decades of researching. And you mean to tell me they still can't find a cure for cancer? Here's what I think is really going on. I believe they don't want a cure for cancer in the United States. And I believe they don't want it because there's more money in treatment. As long as people are sick, these companies, they make so much more money keeping you sick. Chemo is expensive. Some people were able to be cured through chemo. Some people were not. So regardless if you live or die, they still get their money. I have a very, very strong, very strong one with this one, because I fail to believe that they cannot find a cure for cancer in this country. I fail to believe it. Let's go on a little bit more here. Mr. Biden, 82, left office in January as the oldest serving president in American history. Throughout his presidency, Mr. Biden faced questions about his age and his health, which ultimately led him to abandon his reelection campaign. And I don't even want to make this about his campaign. I want to keep the message on health and health care. But I thought Asal brought up a really good point here, because don't forget about this, okay? Asal said war criminals with prostate cancer are still war criminals. Biden isn't a decent man. He's the man who aided the total destruction of Gaza, the mass slaughter of children, normalized starvation as a weapon, and shred international law. His legacy is and will always be genocide. Let's bring it fully home, folks. Because I want you to think about all those kids, all those women, all those people that have been killed. I want you to think about that for a second. This is not here to dance on anyone's. I'm not here to dance on his diagnosis, anything like that. Cancer sucks. But given the resources that he has, he's probably going to be okay. In fact, you can hear in the article, it sounds like he's probably going to be okay. But the average American that faces this situation doesn't have the same type of odds. He's the one that didn't want you to have health care. Think about this. I don't know if this is karma or what. I don't know what this is. But don't you think it's kind of weird? He was the same person that said if the Medicare for All bill came across his desk, he would veto it. He's not affected. He's not impacted the way that you or I would be. They'll probably be able to treat it. He'll probably be able to beat it. But I got another question. Like I said, don't forget, he has his own doctor. He has his own medical team. When you are president of the United States, you have a physical every year. So it is kind of weird to me that this wasn't caught before. For a lot of other people, this would be an automatic death sentence. That's what I want people to understand. Because we don't have our own doctor. Not in this capacity. We don't have those types of resources. Hell, there's doctors near me that haven't taken or accepted new patients since the pandemic, okay? Some of you may have run into that same situation. But he's covered, he's taken care of. I sincerely hope what Americans take away from this, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, corporate media, the way they're going to talk about this, they're going to try to make it political. I want you to make this message about healthcare. Everybody deserves healthcare in this country, and you shouldn't have certain types of treatment based on your title, your wealth, etc. Let's go to some of the comments here in the chat. Thank you for the super chat, Jay. Happy Sunday to you, Sabby. Happy Sunday, Jay. Robert says, I bet Joe has health insurance. New York Varsity says presidents do not use insurance. They have their own doctors, military scientists, and hospitals. There you go. His own team. Thank you, Mark. People going to say poor Joe Biden. I say make him get his cancer treatment in Gaza. Miss Ritchie, if mom had been under 65, her bone marrow cancer would have absolutely financially ruined us. Well over 1 million in treatments covered by Medicare. This is another thing too. Your age can make a difference. Thank you, Chris. Many say Biden is empathetic. He's been around health catastrophe whole life. Beau, first wife, kid, universal health care should have been a slam dunk, 100%, but he's bought off. Thank you, Marlon. Cancer is for profit medicine's biggest money maker, so he still helped the economy. Thanks, P. Didn't Biden say he'd cure cancer? He did say that. Thank you, Fully. How many times were we told over the last 5 decades, were we told that the cure for cancer was just 5 years away? Disgusting. Thanks, baby Ethernet. A lot of our pollution, pesticides also, cause cancer. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.